Christian Apostol is a fourth-year computer science major at Stevens Institute of Technology and an incoming software engineer at Capital One. As ex-president of Stevens Blueprint, he directs a team building free technology for nonprofit organizations, leveraging technology for social good. His vision and drive has transformed Blueprint into a vital resource for New Jersey's community, a testament to his ability to blend technical expertise with impactful leadership.
We're very excited to delve into Christian's experiences, exploring his journey from web development internships to leading a nonprofit tech initiative. His unique combination of technical skill and community-focused leadership promises a fascinating conversation.
Hello, my name is Zidanni.
And I'm Emilio.
And Your World.
We hope you enjoy our conversation.
So, something that we do for every new guest now is that we get them their own themed specialized drink.
Oh man!
So,
all right, read the drink.
Let's see what you guys think of me.
Yeah.
Mango matcha cream.
Mango matcha cream.
Yeah. Honestly.
And why? What's the explanation behind it?
So the explanation was it's kind of stupid, but you recently went to Japan.
Yeah.
So there's the matcha, and the mango is for your Filipino heritage.
Yes.
Is matcha Chinese too?
Matcha is Japanese.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm all right.
Excited to try
You
it.
take a sip, and then you let us know how it is, and our viewers as well.
Give it a rating, 1 to 5.
Yeah, Kung Fu Tea, sponsor us. All
right.
That's ASMR. Right?
Yeah, it's like ASMR, bro. You can hear the boba swishing around in the cup.
Man. That's pretty good. I rock with it. Good flavor.
Okay. We're like 2 for 2 now. Justin liked his too. But yeah.
Let's jump right into it. So our first question for you is, what motivated? First let's hear an explanation on what Blueprint is and what they do.
Okay. Yeah. So Blueprint is a student organization that builds free technology for nonprofits and typically websites or maybe mobile apps. It started at UC Berkeley in 2013, I want to say. And there's about 8 other chapters. And the Stevens chapter started around 2.5 years ago. Me and my fellow roommates, the original president, Katie. Also, there was an original founder, Simon, who was 2 years older than us, that actually started the organization. But we picked it up in our sophomore year. And since then, it's kind of grown a little bit bigger. And it is what it is now. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
So what motivated you to build such a large tech community like Blueprint from the ground up?
So I think at Stevens, at least for computer science, we had CS Club, and I think there's there's professional orgs, but there wasn't anything really project based. I guess there were other you had your classes, of course, but in terms of project work, it was hard to find other students to commit and focus in on certain projects unless you did it on your own and just found friends. So that was a big reason. And then I think we were also inspired heavily by the other chapters, especially Berkeley and Waterloo. Just looking at their websites, we were wow, these are students, this is crazy. We want something here. And I guess that was one of our as a core founding team kind of mindset. But for personal reasons for me, I guess starting a business is something I've always wanted to do. And Blueprint has felt a low risk way to kind of do it.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's free work. We're basically contractors, a contracting company and consultants, and it kind of gives me experiment and leadership and whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. You have a entrepreneurial spirit, then you'd say, in a way,
I would say
interested in inspiring. Have you read an idea specifically for a business other than Coffee Club? I guess it's another.
Coffee Club.
The failed Coffee Club.
I don't know about that. What is that?
Actually, I can give a little background on Coffee Club. Actually, because no joke, Coffee Club was one of the reasons why I wanted to start Blueprint. So I guess for reference, I said try to start a coffee club at Stevens, focus on making and tasting coffee, but it got turned down. So I was oh man, and then I was no, let's use Blueprint and then use Blueprint events to focus on coffee, and we did that. Our last event was Coffee and Code.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Emilio, there's been ideas that have come through my head let's maybe make this app or this website. Nothing definitive. I've spent most of my time on Blueprint now, but now that I'm stepping back, I think I'm going to start going a little harder on the personal projects.
Yeah, that's awesome, and you'll have more time probably working than in school, which
for sure, honestly,
yeah, honestly, yeah.
Ironically, you have more time working full time.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that this semester, like being VP Tech, just even like 2 weeks is like, it's a lot more work.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I'm excited to see like what you'll make. Maybe like a coffee tech
Me
like
too. I'll let you guys
intersection or
know.
something. But in terms of like your inspiration for starting it, I definitely feel like that's a good reason, because people don't really. I think Blueprint's a great like way to get into doing projects and building your portfolio. And like you said, when it didn't exist, you just had to find friends or sort of like spur of the moment type of thing. So I think for any students who are interested in starting one, at their chapter, or if you go to Stevens, getting involved with our Blueprint, like definitely a good thing to do to build out those like key points of your resume and your like portfolio.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was mentioned already, but Christian is the president or ex-president of Blueprint. Yeah. He's graduating this year. So, what are your biggest takeaways that you have in your experience as the ex-president of Blueprint? And what are some like rules or guidelines as a leader that you always follow?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
So like, I think some key takeaways was, you hear this a lot, but like delegating and like finding capable people to like empower and help you and like take charge and like ownership is a huge thing.
It was a deja vu from the last episode.
Yeah. True.
I think like, I mean, you know a lot of the students that are involved, like Miguel and Ivan. They were on the first podcast.
Yeah, first episode.
Yep.
Huge help. Like Ezri, like all these fellow students, like my roommate Sean, like very capable. Definitely, Blueprint would not exist without everyone that helped there, because there's just so much going on. Even for like such a small, I guess, group, and like our scale isn't like too big. It's just a lot of work that goes into running the club, running projects. So like empowering people, I think, and finding capable people to work with. Probably my number one takeaway.
Yeah.
Like,
And what do you mean specifically by empowering people?
so like I at least like when I was trying like was still present, like I wanted people to take initiative and not like just wait for me to tell them what to do. One, because like it takes time for me to figure out what to do, and I might as well do it myself if I'm going to tell them step by step. I think like a good example is like we took inspiration from like freshman representative programs at like other student orgs. So like for example, Emilio, you were one of this year's freshman reps.
Yeah.
So you led like your initiative for Blueprint Grow, and we have like a new mentor-mentee program for this year. And you kind of took the lead on that, and like that was a huge help for me because like I didn't have to necessarily put the lead thought into planning it, and it was really good for the org.
Thanks. I
So
appreciate
you place some importance in giving each member of Blueprint like some agency and the ability to put in their own input as to their own vision of Blueprint.
Exactly, yeah. Because like we're not like a for-profit, of course, company. We're a student org, and we're all like equals. That's like a heavy emphasis. Like so, I don't feel comfortable like oh, you got to do this, like it's in the word, like it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
To say.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely really like weird dynamic, to be like president, and that goes to like you saying like what your guidelines are. I think those are good because you can't expect people to work like it's their job because it's not. You know what I mean? So you have to like make people genuinely inspire people to stay. Like all that people are staying for is like they're doing it for the love of the game.
Exactly.
Like they're just doing it because they love to like they love technology and stuff like that. So like that actually brings me to a question I wanted to ask is like I feel like you put a heavy emphasis on inspiring people and like empowering people to want to do things on their own. So I'm curious, like throughout your high school and college career, like did you have any mentors that kind of instilled that in you, or is that something that you sort of invented for yourself?
I would say like during high school, not really. I had good parenting, I would say, like but I guess like in terms of like technology, software engineering as a career, freshman sophomore year I didn't have like a lot of mentors. I think what I did have was like a really good roommate and like another friend that was like really into the same things, like building technology. Specifically like my roommate Sean, like ex Amazon intern, ex Mailchimp intern, same like side by side we'd always be working on projects, applying to jobs, mock interviewing one another. And there was another student named Ricky Kirk. He was kind of the one that inspired me. He's in my grade, but like the first conversation I had with him, he was talking about like scheduling algorithms for like the RAs on campus, and I was like, wow, this guy's smart. He was actually one of like the first tech lead at Blueprint. He works at Amazon now too, so a lot of Amazon. But like that, those were like my freshman, sophomore year kind of vibes. And then later on, I did have like more mentors in my like internships and like throughout school. I would say like a heavy influence was my like mentor and manager at Capital One. I think like at a lot of internships, like there's a lot of the projects are like intern projects. Like I think that's a theme, and especially in bigger companies. There's like some companies will let you do like production work, but like a lot of times you're like isolated to like, so that way you don't do too much damage to like the actual product. But I guess my manager at Capital One, like I know he did a good job of like including us in like the actual team's like work. Like we felt like we were like valued. Like he did a good job of, I guess it's kind of like a lot to go into, but like the team had like daily stand-ups for their actual work. So there was like 4 other engineers and a manager. So instead of like just meeting with us alone, he would invite us to those meetings. We'd present our work to them, get feedback from them. He'd encourage like one-on-ones. So definitely, even though our project was a little more like an intern project, it still dealt with the same services the team was. So it felt like a lot more professional, a lot more valued. And I think that's kind of what inspired me to be more hands-on and like mentoring like students. Like I want to give them a similar experience. And make their opinions again feel valued.
What was the most difficult aspect for you and your like the founding team of Blueprint in actually founding Blueprint, like getting members, planning, or like motivating people?
You mentioned it earlier and you hit it on the head. Like we cannot pay anybody. Like I don't like,
you don't get nothing. It's free.
It is for the love of the game.
It's for the love of the game.
Like the things we've tried to offer, like of course like project work. And I think like there's a lot of people that are like genuinely interested in learning tech and building big projects. Social good, like I would say like there's a lot of people that like are maybe passionate about like a single cause, and that's what draws them to Blueprint initially. And then recently, now that we have alumni and like we'll be graduating, we have a better like career professional development network. So those are like the 3 incentives we can provide. But that was just really hard to do, especially like starting out, because like it was just us, a bunch of sophomores, like trying to figure out how to recruit people and draw people to this club. And that, I think, recruiting members and retaining them was definitely hard, because like we had nothing established. Like there was no formal onboarding. Even now, like we're still like refining it, especially because it's still pretty early. But we made a mistake of doing like all of our meetings online at first, and I think a lot of people lost interest really quickly. Because like as students, like you're doing so many different things all the time. And like if you make a bad, like if the first month and your experience with Blueprint is like, oh, it's unorganized, like when we're meeting online, I have no idea who I'm working with, you're gonna drop it. And like we understand that, and we've been working on that to improve it and make it better like every year. Recruitment was also hard. Like I'm sure you guys have been in like or at least heard of like the internship grind, like applying, leak code, and like our recruitment process has changed like 3 times. Because like as a club, we don't want to be like an added stress, like, but at the same time we have deadlines and projects, and we definitely fallen behind, and like some members have to like pick up the slack and deliver on the project, just because we lose hands and people aren't necessarily ready for like the time commitment. So like I like, even though like I hate doing like leak code and grinding the application process, I can understand it's like hard to find, like hire people, like, or find like talent for projects. It's like, because I want to say yes to everybody, and like I feel like every time if someone gets turned down from like a project team role, I feel like bad, because like I was like, we're making like a tough decision. Like I wish we could take everyone, but.
How do you interact with clients, especially non-technical clients? Like, what is your approach for communication?
So basically, it's a lot of like, it's like when we were first like meeting with the nonprofits, like a lot of this was just like on the fly, like just we had a plan going in, like we made like a meeting minutes document. We had like at least for like the way the proposals worked for nonprofits, like they don't have to give us any technical detail. They just give us a problem that they're having, and like what platforms they want to use it on, like their target audience, so they don't have to worry about like tech stack or programming language. Like we decide that. So like that's the initial like phase, is like you should be able to turn problem statements in and just take that and use your own like technical knowledge to build off of it. That's like, I guess, working with the non-technical nonprofits. because like they don't necessarily know like what the best like approach is. Even us like as students, we'll struggle to find out the best solution.
No one knows.
So like it's kind of like that was like a really helpful thing, is like just give us the problem and we'll figure out how to solve it. And then like obviously more details and like follow-up meetings will happen. Like we try to do like bi-weekly, because like I guess the project methodology agile emphasizes continuous like feedback. So we try to do like bi-weekly meetings with the nonprofit, show them like updates, or at least give them a verbal update of what's going on. And if we had any questions from the team, like we'll take the non-technical ones and try to dial them down into ones that the nonprofit can answer and that'll actually be helpful for us. But that was kind of like the approach we had for like blueprints. And then like it's kind of hard to do. Like you have to learn how to be professional, of course, be on time, have everything prepared in advance. Like that is the best way to make a good impression. Because like we iterated that we're like students and that we were like, this is pro bono work. So like we kind of had that like shield to hide behind in terms of in case we made like any like mess ups.
Yeah, it's like us with this podcast, bro.
I guess I guess when you guys were reaching out to like some of the guests, especially like the professors and founders, like you probably have like a similar idea with like emails and like how you word your emails and professionally, and like how you even like now how you guys address like professional.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the bare minimum you can do, at least for working with any kind of like client. At least in my minimal experience.
No, I feel that way too. Like I think like even when I was first starting with Blueprint, I was like, yeah, as long as I could like be on time and like feel like I'm like, you know, like show that I'm interested, then yeah, that's good. That's good advice for like, you know, people who like I guess like young students, like engineers and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, email writing is like a it's a good thing like to learn like
it's an art.
It's
like,
an art.
Be concise but also professional, and even adding like a little email footer, like even stuff like that, like footer just helps.
Yeah.
But like it was like a big difference in like I guess like nonprofits. Like I mentioned earlier, some of them were like ex-engineers, so like they could actually like I guess dictate some of the technical aspects. But then some are like they might not have no idea how to build a website, which is totally expected. Like that's why we're here to help. So it's a lot of work where we try to fill in, especially for like the PM role or product manager role at Blueprint, and the designer role. Like it's a heavy emphasis on like just interpreting like verbal feedback or written feedback into like actual like products and designs.
I'm wondering if you had any experiences with like particularly like difficult clients.
I would say yeah. Nothing too bad, and I would say I wouldn't say it was a negative experience, like really negative. It would just say like the expectations were different. Like I think they were moving at a faster pace than we could move at, especially earlier on, like a year and a half ago when we hadn't established a lot. I think they had a tighter deadline, so we just couldn't fit it. So we started the partnership, and I think eventually it petered off because we weren't able to work as quickly as they needed, or up to like the standards that they wanted for kind of like the free work that we provide. Yeah, that would be kind of like my take on communicating. Like I kind of rambled. I don't know if that really answered the question.
That's the whole point.
It's all good, and especially because now like this is a big trend in technology. It's like a lot of non-technical founders, because it's possible now. You know, like
vibe coding.
yeah. We talk about vibe coding every episode. I swear,
yeah,
it works its way into every and it's probably going to be on the next like 1-2 probably. But yeah, like it's a big thing that, you know, you can be non-technical and you can actually found a technology company. So I think more and more it's going to be useful to translate like or be really good at, you know, like natural language and converting that into technology. And like that's a good skill to have. So I'm glad like that's something that, you know, you guys do at Blueprint. Like you're not willing to only work with, you know, like highly technical projects. Like you'll hear out someone who just has a mission statement and then can almost like translate that into technology. You're kind of like translators in a way.
Yeah, it's like honestly a big takeaway for me. Like I've learned so much about like public speaking and presenting, and then also just talking like with people and being casual. Like it's helped a lot.
Yeah,
like Blueprint at least.
It's hard. It can be awkward sometimes, but yeah, that's awesome.
So going back to the topic of like newcomers and like early students, what are the most like common mistakes you notice with, I guess, like new people in tech team, or just like, you know, freshmen in general?
I would say like not necessarily mistakes, because like I think as a student we're supposed to like mess up and like experiment and try different things.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, yeah, that's not just like technical mistakes, but like it could be like also like mistakes in like mindset and how they approach like clubs like Blueprint.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I want to add to that too, real quick. Like you can add stories from the Career Center too, because that's
Okay,
also
Oh
something
yeah,
that
he also works at the Career Center.
at Stevens Career Center. So you're seeing students every day, or at least if you're not seeing them every day, you're always in that mindset when you're working there, like trying to review resumes, like give it career advice. So I feel like you have a good perspective on this. So yeah, you could.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I guess with like, in terms of mindset, like that's a good way to phrase it. Like, waiting to be told what to do, I think is probably like the biggest thing among like resume stuff, projects like work within like the internal tech teams or project teams. I think like it's understood because like as students we're always given like step-by-step instructions on our assignments, or more or less depending on the professor, but like we're given like a lot more guidance on like what we have to deliver, whereas like I guess for software projects or even like projects in like as an internship, like sometimes it's a lot more free-flowing and no one's going to tell you exactly how you're supposed to do it. You just got to look it up. Like that's kind of like the vibe. And like even for like being told what to do, like it's good to get advice, but like you have to like at the end of the day it's like you own it. So like every time I give advice at the Career Center, I give general like get involved in like this club or maybe pursue personal projects. You can't wait for like a tutorial to tell you what to do, or like someone to reach out their hand and guide you through it step by step. Like you gotta kind of just get it yourself. Like that's kind of like what happened with Blueprint. Like and what I learned a lot with Blueprint is like nothing was really established. We just had to figure it out all together and like work together as a team to get it done.
Wow. So that's like a major through line you see is like students not willing to, or maybe they don't know how to take initiative.
Yeah, and I understand why. Like even now, like there's times like I freeze up. I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. Like, I was working on like something with Miguel for like our deployments for like our staging environments, and I'm like, I was like, I have no idea how to do this. But Miguel wrote out instructions. I'm like, oh, thank you. I was like, that was helpful.
Yeah. So it's like I think like that's really true. It's not like to like look down upon students or anything. Like it's just a lot of people don't know how to take the first step. I think I was really lucky because like I got involved with Blueprint. Like I told you the other day, like I just went to like the Stevens like flock party, like like which is like the club fair. I was just in the club fair and I was like, oh, they're giving us like the stickers, like seems pretty cool, so I'll go. And like I got involved luckily, but yeah, it's not always that easy. So
it's definitely very hard. It takes a lot of thought. Like sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and like be told what to do.
And you see it every day, so this is like really good advice, as someone who works in the Career Center for computer science majors too. But yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Sometimes you're not supposed to wait for somebody to tell you what to do, and you gotta take that first step yourself. And adding on to that, is there a piece of advice that you would give your freshman self?
Freshman self?
Yep.
I would say, okay, so like there's always the mindset I should have started earlier. I think like a very tangible piece of advice I would give myself is like carving out 30 minutes every day to work on like projects, at least 30 minutes to carve out to work on personal projects or things that interest me specifically that are completely separate from everything else. Because I think like the consistency, like I feel like a lot of the times I didn't dedicate that time and I would like doom scroll on like TikTok or Instagram and then like, or like I would get busy with like other Blueprint stuff or classes. And then I think there's like some technical stuff that I'm so interested in now. I'm like, wow, I wish like the past couple of years I was kind of grinding away at that. Another thing is like overcommitting. I think, especially freshman year, you go crazy, like usually with like what you're trying to do. You guys are doing a lot, like podcasts, involved in Blueprint project teams, involved in your classes, Launchpad, all the different things that Stevens has to offer. And I think a lot of what people say, like, do everything you can. Like that, I think that is good, like get exposure. But at some point, I think you gotta like, you realize like the value of your time. Like especially like when I was like doing like a newsletter and like the budgeting and like all the random stuff, like nitty gritty. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. Like I should have delegated this better, or like set better terms. So like overcommitting, like taking the value of your time is like probably my biggest takeaway. And advice for my freshman self.
It's great advice. I literally got hit with that yesterday. Like literally, but right before we recorded a session yesterday. I had like came right from class, recorded a session, then I had like a RA orientation, and right after that I was meeting with Miguel, and like I was just like, come on.
It's a lot. Yeah,
and then I started my homework like 9 p.m. I was like, come on, man.
Exactly. And that's
I know Zidanni feels that way too, but yeah, that's something I'm trying to learn, and like That's a question I asked our guest yesterday. Is like how do you balance your time? And his answer was actually that you can't. Like it's trade-offs with everything.
Mhm.
So actually, like I was wondering, like, do you feel that way as well? Like,
Yeah, I feel so, like, especially for school, like for classes and especially for Blueprint, I feel like I spent like 40 hours a week at least in Blueprint. It was like a full-time job.
Mhm.
And the thing is, like, you have to be available at like all hours of the day, because like that's kind of what the downside of, like, I guess, school and like starting like a club or like an organization is. Like there's no like set work hours. You kind of have to be like, if there's something that's due, you have to kind of get it done, or it just doesn't work.
You got to be on Blueprint mode 24/7.
It like
it's a lifestyle. It's a
Yeah.
lifestyle.
yeah,
Man.
like when I was in Japan, I was like doing the budget. I was like answering messages,
That sucks.
and that's a trade-off. And then like work, like surprisingly, like 9 to 5, I kind of enjoyed, because I was like, oh, 9 to 5, I'm done. I'm gonna go rock
Yeah.
climb or like go out to eat. And, like that's the vibe. So there, like, I 100% agree. There's trade-offs, especially when it comes to like starting something, like founding an org or business or whatever it is.
Yeah, Discord is always blowing up. The Blueprint
I'm
Discord.
chronically
I swear.
online.
Yeah, I swear. I'm like I get like anxious about it. I'm like checking it. It's bad.
Yeah, what you just said like really like mirrors the mindset of so many startup founders, because that work for themselves. They have to be like, no matter what, even if they're on vacation, they gotta be in that founder mindset 24/7. Like,
Mhm.
you know, like an issue can pop up at any time, like an error, like a bug, and it's, you know, up to you to, you know, delegate that to other people or solve it yourself if you have like the technical ability to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, so in the face of constant advancements like AI, quantum computing, distributed systems, how should software engineers now, or students, approach continuous learning and skill adaptation?
Oh man.
Like some more career advice.
Guys, I'm learning this as I go too.
Yeah.
Actually, like with like, I guess like ChatGPT came out like my sophomore year of, or like it was started like become more popular sophomore year of college for me. So like I was lucky enough to get like 1 year of like regular school or regular college before I started seeing more ChatGPT.
Yeah, seeing more. Yeah.
I think this is like so tough. I think vibe coding is it's really easy to rely on like the tools, but I think you really should start specializing in a few things that you're really passionate about. Like right now, I'm trying to learn like Golang and Erlang, and I'm really into like site reliability and systems admin. I'm taking classes on that, watching courses on that, and that's something that AI hasn't really, I guess, super consumed yet. Eventually it's gonna do it, but like I guess traditional web dev, like building stuff in like React and the more popular frameworks, those are things that are a lot easier now for AI to do. But then there's like some more niche things. I think just like staying ahead of the curve and like still like learning like the basics so that you can understand. Like this is so generic, but like so you can understand, because that way you can find like the individual problem, but also like don't, as most people have said, like don't abandon AI, like embrace it. Like you're only gonna fall behind if you like I'm cold turkey, I'm not gonna use any AI. Like that's only a detriment to you.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you find yourself returning to a lot of those basics like a lot of times? Because I feel like at least from my perspective, I feel like, you know, people in your position, you know, older like computer science students stuff like are so, you know, like far ahead. But do you like find yourself, you know, like brushing up a lot on like your basic skills, like even the most basic things?
Yeah, I'm trying to like honestly unwind some of the damage that ChatGPT has done to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying, like I was literally doing like a step-by-step Hello World tutorial for Golang, and I'm like and like reading through like the docs, because like a lot of times like my attention span is so short that like I'll just forget like even some basic stuff, but like I know that I can look it up so quickly online, like and it'll just be right back in there. So like I am trying to like rehone the basics, like even just basic data structures and stuff, and like really fundamentally understand things, because like I think it's just cooler and when you can go into depth about the conversation, and it just help you in the long run.
To go back like quickly to your experience at Capital One and stuff, like what is their like outlook on AI? Like are you guys allowed to use it, or like I've always been curious about that, but I have never asked anyone.
I would say like we were allowed to use Copilot.
Oh really?
Like Copilot. No like LLMs. I think there's a lot of like red tape when it comes to like just pumping company data and like into like
it's like GitHub Copilot you guys use?
Okay. Yeah, it was GitHub Copilot. But I think like the way Copilot, I think I don't know, this might be the way I understood it is like they had like established like a partnership so that Copilot wouldn't use any of the Capital One code for other Copilot like instances. I think that's how it worked. I remember like my first internship at Optum, they had like a ChatGPT like chatbot, but all of the information was like isolated to within like the company.
Oh, it was like local. It was like, oh, yeah, or maybe they just like had some sort of like, yeah.
I'm not sure how it
Like
worked, but yeah, it's
protections,
definitely
yeah,
like
yeah.
protections. Like it definitely wouldn't
Uh-huh.
link to like the broader.
Yeah, understandably
Audience.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I guess like I think they were definitely embracing it. They were encouraging it and like putting it into like future outlook. I think like most companies are at this point.
Yeah, for their developers though, it's interesting because, you know, obviously there's a lot of like imperfections. So, I wonder if like they have any safeguards against developers like just literally like plugging their like problem in and then like, is there like
Yeah.
are there any like protections against that?
There were like in order to gain access, you had to like take like a compliance course, like dictating like when is the best case to use like Copilot, when it's
Okay.
not. So like
Mhm.
writing tests, like repetitive work like that, they're like that's a good use case.
Uh-huh.
Then they're like working with like customer data and like maybe like sending requests between systems. Maybe not the best use case. Like as an advisor, like you should do that yourself and within your
Yeah.
team.
Sure.
So they have like AI compliance videos now.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Like that reminds me of like the CPR like trainings and stuff. Now they have like AI
Pretty
trainings.
much, yeah.
That's
it
crazy.
was kind of like that, and it was pretty interesting. And like I
Yeah.
understood it. I'm like, yeah.
So would they like track what you use it for? Cause I'm imagining like would they like look down on you if you used AI for like something really simple? Like I don't know.
I hope not. Probably not. I mean, they probably got all the data, but I don't know how close. Especially for the interns, they probably did not care what I was doing.
That's interesting to me then because, like, I mean I guess it's not true. There definitely is some nuance you need to have. You know, you need to know like what questions to ask and you need to use the correct terminology. But like if you're just allowed to use it for anything, you know, I mean not customer data, but let's say it's something simple that's not related to customer data. It's just like a simple thing you need set up, but you use AI, and like they don't care.
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, they're probably thinking like efficiency and outcome. Like if you can deliver the results,
Rather than like,
go for
wow,
it.
this guy really doesn't like know what he's
Yeah,
doing.
I think that's more of it. But like, yeah, that's why I didn't want to rely on it too much. Like I wanted to learn and I wanted to like honestly prove to myself like, I can do this. Is pretty basic stuff. Like, I can figure it out.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say they're definitely embracing it.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm also familiar with the fact that like a lot of like these tech companies measure like employees not by like the time that they put in, but rather than the results that they give. So I was like I was wondering what you thought about that.
Yeah, so like that's something again like with I guess personal projects with friends that you and like projects in school you don't get like exposure to like corporate politics. I guess is the best term.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like very outcome based and like I had a really good mentor at Capital One. Like outside of my manager, there was like a first year mentor that they assigned to everybody. And he did a great job like explaining like mid-year reviews, like end-of-year reviews, and like how your performance is evaluated. Because like this is something very interesting, but like if you're relegated to like a feature that like no one uses or like very low like impact on the company, it's kind of harder to grow. Like he made a good point. Like we're working on like a front-facing like customer website that can affect like a lot of things. Like it's a good spot to be in because like people will see your work, and that'll help with your performance reviews and like how you're viewed in the workplace. And then another thing is like having a good manager that's like always advocating for you. Like that's huge. Like I think every company like I'm looking on Reddit and like Blind, if you're familiar with it. It's like professional Reddit.
I'll check that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Blind.
It's such a toxic place, but like you'll look at the company ratings and everyone's gonna say like, oh, I had a bad team, bad manager. I think that's like universal. Like you're gonna have a bad team, bad manager. Same with like schools. You have a bad professor, bad class. Like, but then some people will say the other thing, like this is the greatest professor I had, like, or I had a good professor with this class.
Yeah.
So having someone to advocate for you was huge in terms of like getting performance, and yeah, that was kind of like navigating like the corporate ladder, I would say.
Yeah. And I know like now there's, you know, even more metrics to gauge you by like lines of code, you know, like things like that.
Yeah, I think.
How did that affect you, if at all? I'm just curious.
I don't think they were tracking lines of code. I think we had an in-person requirement, so like I think bad swipes might have been counted. But it was like so close to the office, it wasn't really a big deal. I think those other metrics, like they're like the more they're able to like data they're able to crunch, the more will get observed in performance. Again, as a beginner, like only intern experience, like I can't really say much, but I think you're in a good position as an intern, or as the younger you are, the more likely people are to like be friendly to you and give you time. Like everyone was like fine, like they're like, oh, I'll have a one-on-one with the intern. Like they encouraged us to set up meetings. Like they're like, yeah, I'm happy to talk to you and give you advice, but like say you're like a senior dev or a mid-tier dev, and like you're trying to talk to another mid-tier dev and you have no idea, they're like, dude, I don't really got time. Like I think as the younger you are, it gave you a little bit of example, it gave you a little more leeway to mess up or make mistakes, and then also like to reach out to people because they're just more receptive.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to not my supervisor, but someone who I'll be working with this summer, like for my internship. And he was like, yeah, when the interns come, it's like the best time of year. Like, it's
people are
like,
saying that.
There's always people like playing ping pong. Like, it's just like such good, like a good overall vibe because, it's mostly them, they're doing like really time consuming research and it's like very intense. So when they have interns, it's just like very fun for like the whole summer.
Yeah, they said the office, they're always like, the office is really boring. And then
he's like, oh, we're all hanging out, playing ping pong all day. I'm like, it's so funny.
That's true. It is a funny thing.
Like,
things to look forward to, I guess, as a full-time
yeah, definitely.
So I guess I know that like internship season or like incoming intern season is one of the most exciting parts about
definitely
working a job. So I guess to finish off this conversation, besides the fact that you mentioned before that you wish you spent like allocated 30 minutes a day towards working on personal projects, what is like the most important piece of advice that you would give to incoming CS or engineering students coming to college?
Oh man, I think you guys did a good job. Is like, this is so basic, but like network early and like network in the right ways. Like, I think the great thing about Blueprint is like I am more than happy to give you guys like recommendations or referrals or recommendation letters because I've seen you guys work on projects and you put like great work in, a lot of time in, and I'm like, yeah, like that's something I want to get back to. So like I kind of wish I had like a chance to prove that, because otherwise like when I was coming into Stevens, like I didn't know who to talk to and there was no like ways to like to prove like it was, other than like conversation and like personal things. But like at least for like Blueprint, we got to work directly together, like side by side on coding. Like I think I've reviewed your pull requests several times, and I've seen you work with like the Blueprint Grow and then other like tech team related stuff. Like network in effective ways like that. Like put your money where your mouth is, because like now I'm very receptive to, of course, this for you too, like helping as much as I can.
That means so much. Yeah.
No, like I'm glad you guys invited me here, but like
thank you.
I think that would be my biggest advice, because like network, but like network in a good way. Like that's kind of, and a good way to network is demonstrating your abilities to upperclassmen. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Basically, just to add to join Blueprint. There you
pretty
go.
Much. Join something similar. Like whatever your industry is, like go for it. Like be able to show your work off. Like the same thing with like the corporate. Like you want to make sure you're working on something visible. Like wow, like podcast visible, personal website visible. Like all those things are very tangible things that other people can look at.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to put your work out there and be vulnerable about it too. Like
100%.
Yeah, people, like I think you said this, like I'm literally quoting you right now, but like people are always going to be able to like shoot what you do or like what you say down, but like ultimately, it's like a good reflection of you for you to put like your work out there and like just be proud of it.
And especially as first years, like I said, same thing, like people are a lot more receptive to helping. Like if I like came to like Sean with like a basic question, like he would be like, bro, like look at it. But like the first years, like we're like, yeah, we'll definitely walk you through it. Like I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like this was like a really insightful episode, like especially for people who are like freshmen in college now and incoming freshmen at Stevens. I really like this conversation that we had, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Christian.
I'm planning to share this with like a bunch of incoming freshmen that I know, because I really think that this like episode was like super insightful for people like especially CS students that there's very directionless right now, especially like if they go on Reddit, like they see like CS r/CS majors.
That's
like
the Reddit. Don't go on Reddit if you're a CS major. Just don't go on social media in general.
It'll put you in a bad mindset, honestly.
Yeah, like the reality is much better than what's online, I think.
Yeah, I would say There's like people fearmonger, and they're just like it's crazy, but. I'm glad I was able to offer some insight. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christian.
For sure.
It was awesome having you.